welcome back to SHRALP Stories. And this is another episode of Tech Tips with Uncle Kolty. Today, we're going to be going over how to manage closeouts, because there's probably going to be a lot of them. And we're also going to talk a little bit about backside punts. Stay tuned if you want to learn how to fly on your backhand and not die in a closeout. I guess we'll start with first things first. Go get yourself an alley rat from Timmy Patterson Surfboards. Best surfboard in the planet. And a racetrack pad to go with it. They sell them in the shop and they sell them online too. That's usually what my combo is. I like the round pin because it has a lot of hold and a lot of drive, but still good release. Nice curve, solid curve around the whole tail. No breaks in the rail or anything. More speed, more drive means more fun, more airs, more turns. You can kind of do whatever you want. Stay tuned for some punts. Oh, here goes Gio. Damn! Oh, kickflip. Alright, so we made it back from the SHRALP. Waves were kind of whatever. I didn't do many punts like I was hoping to do for you guys, but thankfully Connor was able to pull up some good footage from the past that we filmed over the years. I guess we'll start with this one here because it's one that I didn't land actually. You know, it's a perfect setup of a wave. You know, I had a nice roll in on the takeoff that was pretty mushy and then a really punchy wave coming towards me. You're doing an aerial. So think about skateboarding, motorcycle riding. Snowboarding's kind of similar, but you're going down already, so you kind of already have that loft. But like, look at everything that you're gonna be getting air time. The best comparison I can think of is like skateboarding. When you're at the skate park and two ramps meet like a corner like this. So you'll go from this corner to this corner. And that's like a similar idea of what I look at when I'm looking for a ramp for surfing. So basically I'm dropping in right here on this mushy part of the wave and I'm pumping to get some speed going. So you gotta be going pretty fast, kind of like skateboarding as well, or motorcycle riding too. You gotta have speed going into your jump, otherwise you're not gonna get any air, first of all, and second of all, you're not gonna get any distance either. But I got some speed going here and I'm coming off the bottom and I'm noticing like, okay, the ramp's here, and I'm here, and this is coming towards me, and I'm going towards it, so it's gonna come to you a lot faster than you're even thinking it's going to get to you. If I wanna do the turn, or the punt, if I wanna do it here, let's say, where the lip's barreling, and I wanna hit it right before that, gauge it a little bit even before that, because that wave's gonna keep breaking and coming closer to you, so you wanna kinda time it a little earlier than you'd expect. So when I'm coming off the bottom, I'm getting super low, and I'm not doing like a deep bottom turn. I'm doing more of like a projected bottom turn where it's like long and steady, and I'm going to go more that way rather than this way, if that makes sense. I'll come off the bottom, low and slow, looking over my shoulder, staring at that exact spot that I want to hit. that's a little bit over from the breaking part of the wave and a little bit early, like I was telling you too. And I'll come off the bottom, staying super low. Best thing that I've ever learned was from a skateboarder a long time ago, Tanner Stack. He was telling me, when I do airs, I keep my hand exactly where I want my board to go. So if I'm doing a frontside air that I want to grab with this hand, I'll keep my hand right here and the board's going to go right into my hand. Or if it's a backside air, your bottom turning like this anyway, so your hand's kind of down and ready, but you keep your hand in the exact spot, and you'll notice when you hit the wave, the board will just go right into the grip of your hand. And if not, throw it away, just fall, whatever. Don't try to force something because it looks weird, and that's usually when you get hurt too. So we'll keep going on this wave. I'm going towards the lip, and I go for the punt. You'll notice my hand's already right there, right where the rail is going to connect to my hand. And then I grab it, and when you grab it, you kind of want to pull it to your feet a little bit so that it stays glued to you. And you also ideally want to grab it as quick as possible, so that way it's not going to get blown away or fumble around or do weird things. And also, I guess we should back up a little bit. So right when you hit the lip, your feet are going to be back a little bit. And as soon as you hit the lip and come off of it, your board's gonna move from your feet just a hair. So just like skateboarding, you know, when you do an ollie, you move your front foot up to like put your board back closer to your back foot and level your board out. It's the same thing with surfing. Kind of move your front foot and your back foot up a little bit. And that way you have a lot more control over your board. So you can see my back foot goes from towards the kick of the stomp pad up to the front of my stomp pad. And my front foot goes up from behind my hand where I'm grabbing to like right where my hand is grabbing. So that way you have a lot of control over your surfboard. Unfortunately, this one here, I had a pretty bumpy landing. Now, ideally, you're gonna wanna be, not all the time, but you're gonna wanna be a little bit more tail heavy when you're coming in on your landing so that your nose doesn't poke under the water. But there's a good balance between the two. Just like skateboarding, you know, you wanna kinda land with the transition that you're coming in on, whether that's an open face wave or whitewater. It's going to be different for either. If it's an open face wave, maybe you're going to be a little bit more front heavy, so you land in the transition and it projects you out into the flats. Or if it's whitewater like this instance here, you're going to want to land a little tail heavy so that you can land on top of it and ride out through the foam. But here, you know, not every time it works out, but I landed a little too nose heavy and I just stuffed myself down into the wave and unfortunately fell off. But it's a good example of like the quintessential wave to have like a good air section. So now moving on to wave number 2. Similar situation here. This one is a little bit quicker of a drop in. So I instantly had to get some speed going. And I see this little whitewater section kind of towards the end, which is like, it's not difficult, but kind of have to work a little bit more to get into the air because it's such a soft section. There's not going to be much pushback on your board to throw you towards the beach. So here, I do the same thing. I have my hand already ready out here before I even take off on the lip. You can see it. And then it comes right to my board. Board goes right into my hand. I grab it, move my feet up, and then I come in towards the landing. Once again, a little bit too nose heavy. And it didn't work out on this one too. You know, another side note that I like to talk about with people when they're trying to do airs and stuff, whether it's front side or backside, you want to project your body and your board towards the beach. Because you got to realize, you know, like I was saying earlier, the wave's going to be coming at you while you're coming at it, but that wave is also moving this way, not just this way or this way. Like there's so much dynamic to an air that makes it really difficult to actually perform one. So when you do hit the lip, you kind of want to like grab and throw yourself in towards the beach is like the goal. This one here didn't work out, but got to keep trying. You just keep doing them. Lastly here, this was, I want to say it was last summer actually. So I was in boardies and the water was quite warm. So I was feeling loosey-goosey and I had a nice drop in, just kind of like the first wave we were talking about. I was able to generate some speed and go down the line, and I noticed that the wave was kind of a closeout. I was able to take off and get some speed going before the wave actually closed out. So I'm eyeing this section down the beach a little bit, and I'm staying right next to the pocket, like right in the power source of the wave in the very beginning, and trying to get a little bit of speed, but trying to kind of manage it to where I'm not going too fast and outrunning it and getting this to the section too soon. I'm actually like slowing down a bit in my pumps and like trying to stay at the top of the wave, stay at the power source, so that when I do decide that it's time to go for the punt, I'm able to go really high, come way off the bottom, project up at the lip, stare at where the takeoff point is going to be, where it's the steepest, and gonna have the most like push back towards me to allow me to get into the air and push me in with the wave so that I have ultimately a good landing. But I got my hand right here behind my calf and I'm ready to grab as soon as I take off. Move my feet forward. You'll notice my foot is way behind my logo. Like if you look at the Timmy Patterson logo on my surfboard right here, it's probably that far away from it when I take off. And then as soon as I get into the air, you'll notice my front foot goes over the logo, if not in front of it just a little bit. So the same thing is going to be happening with my back foot. It's going from the back of my traction pad, my racetrack traction pad, to the front of my racetrack traction pad. It's allowing me to get good lift off and keep my board controlled and centered underneath me so that when I do land, it's going to be glued to my feet and ready for whatever comes next. This one here, you let go as you're coming down, or I let go as I'm coming down, and then I instantly put my hands. When you're surfing, you kind of want a wider upper body so that you have good control and like a nice center of gravity, I guess. Bending my knees a lot too, because your knees are like suspension on a motorcycle or something like that, where it'll absorb the impact when you do land so that you're not just like splatting and hitting the bottom and falling. So I come in here and I landed pretty nose heavy because I noticed that the wave was steep where I was landing. So you don't want to land too tail heavy. You're going to just splat and not make it down the wave. This one I was able to hit the white water and it lifted my nose as I was coming in and it made a perfect transition to scoot me out of it. And then I came out of it with speed and yeah, kicked out before I hit the beach because it was very rocky this day. I do remember that. Anyway, there's a couple tech tips on how to do some backside punts. I hope you guys learned something. Why don't you drop something in the comments if I missed anything, or if you have any side notes that some people might be interested in, drop them in the comments below. Like, subscribe, check us out on Instagram, Kolton_Sullivan or Connor Eck Films if you like some footage from Connor. But yeah, thanks for tuning back in. And yeah, if you need any winter clothes, hit up IPD. We love ya. All right, see you next time.